Type 2 diabetes and its associated insulin resistance are conditions that can often be controlled without the use of medication and do not require expensive treatments for a cure. Sometimes just a change in lifestyle is enough. In this episode, I will show you that often we can help ourselves. What's more, this kind of self-help may be the best method of treating diabetes as shown by scientific research. To avoid keeping you in suspense, the most effective non-pharmacological treatment for type 2 diabetes is weight reduction in those with overweight and obesity, more precisely getting rid of excess fat, including fat from the organs. Many respected scientists draw attention to the fact that fat accumulation in organs, including the liver and the pancreas, contributes to the development of diabetes and makes it difficult to cure. Moreover, an extensive scientific work from 2010 clearly shows that obese people have more than 7 times higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those of normal body weight. I think these data perfectly illustrate how important it is to maintain our body weight at the appropriate level. As I just mentioned, weight loss, understood as the removal of excess fat in organs and body, allows, for example, to restore the proper release of insulin by the pancreas, which is the hormone responsible for regulating blood sugar levels. Moreover, fat tissue produces pro-inflammatory substances which cause insulin resistance, which in turn exacerbates diabetes. Therefore, reducing body fat allows us to reverse this adverse phenomenon. As a result, reducing body mass and decreasing fat tissue levels, especially the visceral fat around our internal organs, is an effective and inexpensive way to reverse type 2 diabetes. Of course, to deal with excess fat tissue, we can resort to various methods. And let's face it, one of the best ways in addition to a properly balanced diet is regular physical activity. And I don't mean strenuous exercise here. Referring to the words of Schopenhauer, a German philosopher, that life consists of a movement and movement is its essence, I will now give you some suggestions of exceptionally effective forms of physical activity that will help regulate diabetes or even get rid of it. After this part, I will explain why movement can help us so much. We need to mainly just get out of the house for the first type of activity. I'm talking about a quick walk or march. To begin with, walking can even protect us from developing diabetes. A large study from 2015 showed that people who regularly walk have a 15% lower risk of developing diabetes. Let us look at the situation for those who have already been diagnosed with diabetes. It is important to know that a brisk walk or march can improve all the main parameters associated with diabetes, both immediately and in the long term. Talking about immediate action, studies have shown that walking for half an hour a day can reduce blood glucose levels by up to 40 mg per deciliter, so if your sugar levels are high, it is worth taking a brisk walk. Additionally, it is beneficial to take a walk after a large meal, such as lunch, for immediate action. As I said, walking and marching have long-term effects as well. According to a thorough analysis of 34 scientific studies, experts have proven that for every hour and a half of walking per week, there is a decrease in fasting glucose level by 6 mg per deciliter. In a simplified way, we can say that if we dedicate 3 hours a week to walking, about half an hour a day, we can expect a permanent reduction in the concentration of glucose of up to 12 mg per deciliter, which must be considered a very good result. Moreover, in scientific literature, we can also find evidence that walking leads to a decrease in the level of glycated hemoglobin, which is an important parameter used to assess diabetes control. In addition, walking reduces insulin resistance, making our cells and tissues more sensitive to insulin. And it also helps to reduce the level of insulin in the blood, which is beneficial because an excess of it is not good for us, as I have said many times before. I mean here, among other things, an increase in blood pressure or an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Swimming and exercising in water is another type of activity that can bring similar health benefits to people with high blood sugar and diabetes who also like to be in contact with water. This includes swimming in lakes or seas, as well as using swimming pools. In my research for this material, I found many works that clearly show that swimming significantly reduces the level of glycated hemoglobin, which in short helps regulate the long-term glucose levels in the blood. Of course, swimming also leads to a beneficial reduction in the sugar level at any given moment for both healthy and sick people. After analyzing the results of many scientific studies, I can say that in order to achieve highly satisfactory results, it would be optimal to swim 2 to 3 times a week, and each session should be at least 30 to 40 minutes. But it doesn't mean that, for example, if we only go to the pool once a week in winter, no benefits will be achieved. Of course, there will be benefits, but to a lesser degree. At the same time, please also be aware that we do not have to focus on one type of physical activity. For example, we can devote 2 to 3 hours a week to walking, and instead of one of the walks, we can go for a swim. I'm talking about swimming or exercises in the water such as aqua aerobics, because this type of physical activity has an additional benefit. Namely, this aquatic environment provides relief to our joints, unloading joint surfaces and relaxing muscles. Moreover, the latest research from 2022 shows that performing physical activities in water can help to relieve pain and dysfunction of joints in people with degenerative joint disease. And having had contacts with many patients, I know well that it is precisely joint problems that stand in the way of undertaking various activities. Therefore, for these people, swimming can be an excellent solution. Riding a bike is also an appropriate way to lower one's blood sugar levels. In a recent publication from 2023, researchers confirmed that this kind of physical activity can lower glucose concentration by up to 50 mg per deciliter in the moment. Generally, both biking outdoors and using a stationary bike can bring benefits. Moreover, while preparing this section, I also came across an interesting study that showed that regular biking can in some way extend the life of people with diabetes. Specifically, the expert observed that people who engaged in this physical activity had a 24% lower risk of premature death. Research in Denmark has shown that even recreational and seasonal cycling, as well as using a bicycle as a common means of transportation to work, can prevent us from getting diabetes. This just goes to show that you don't have to be a professional cyclist to protect yourself from the disease or to help treat it. Recreational cycling can be enough to improve your health. Personally, I highly recommend this type of transportation as it combines the healthy with the useful, and it can save you money on fuel or public transportation tickets. Running at a fast pace has similar effects as cycling. In the work previously mentioned, its authors have shown that running can reduce the level of glucose in the blood even more than cycling. Additionally, running also reduces the risk of premature death among patients diagnosed with diabetes. Dancing is an interesting form of physical activity suitable for diabetics. Studies have shown that 2 one-hour sessions of dancing per week have resulted in a significant decrease in the level of glycated hemoglobin. This means that regular dancing contributes to diabetes management. Moreover, the pace and intensity of the dance steps in the study were tailored to the individual. Furthermore, dancing is associated with a range of other health benefits. There is even a concept called choreotherapy, which is a form of therapy involving dancing. According to literature, choreotherapy helps to relieve psychological tension. As I will mention further in this material, reducing stress is one of the strategies for regulating diabetes. In addition, choreotherapy is associated with, among other things, strengthening muscles and joints, improving cognitive functions in older people, or learning to accept oneself and others. As you can see, many different forms of physical activity can improve the health of people with diabetes, and you don't have to exhaust yourself to help yourself. What's more, you don't have to spend half of your life walking, cycling, or swimming. About 3 hours a week is enough to make a noticeable difference. It is also important to maintain regularity in this. That is, it is better to dedicate a little less time to physical activity and practice it regularly, rather than to exercise until you drop once in a while. As I mentioned, physical activity contributes to weight loss, specifically reducing fat tissue. In this way, by reducing the fat of internal organs, it helps to regulate blood sugar levels and prevent type 2 diabetes. It is worth knowing, however, that in addition to this action, physical exercise helps to treat diabetes in many other ways. As a result of physical activity, glucose or sugar is absorbed from the blood by working muscles that need this fuel for their action. Furthermore, due to physical exertion, other cells and tissues of our body become more sensitive to the action of insulin, meaning insulin resistance decreases, which also helps to regulate the sugar level in the long run. Besides that, walking, swimming or cycling or other types of physical activity contribute to stress relief, including the lowering of cortisol levels. And this aspect also has an important meaning. This is because, as scientists have shown, long-term and chronic stress disrupts our carbohydrate metabolism, while reducing psychological tension helps to permanently regulate the blood sugar level. Here I will also add that, on the other hand, for people with type 1 diabetes, it is very important to take certain precautions when performing physical activity in order to avoid, for example, a drastic drop in blood glucose levels. I also encourage you to check out the material where I discuss the harmful products that may increase the risk of diabetes. This video can be treated as a companion to the current one. To watch it, just click on the thumbnail that appears on the screen. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you next time.